Mayhem athletes, it is 2026, and that means the Open is right around the corner, and we are kicking off our new year with our Nimble and Quick cycle, and we have a couple other things in the works. Jake, do you want to kick us off with what we're doing for the 440 challenge?
That's right. I love it, Brandon.
Such a good hype intro. It'd be so bad if I didn't.
And
we're here for Nimble and Quick.
I can barely talk because my nose is so stuffed up, so I'm like,
we're here for Nimble and Quick.
Jake.
Take it, Jake.
Somewhere in the middle, but I'm getting there, getting that high. The 440, so we'll cover that. We'll dive deep into the cycle overview, Nimble and Quick, like Brandon mentioned. Then we'll also touch on the 2026 cycle overview, which will be a resource we're going to send out. Should be as this podcast releases or in a couple of days. You'll be able to see the entire year. We'll break it down into our total of, I believe, 6 cycles from the competitive season, the off season, to bring us back into the competitive season next year and what each of those will look like from high points and then some highlights along the way. Monday, January 5th, we are kicking off the new year, even though technically yesterday it's the 2nd as we're filming
Doesn't
this.
count until Monday, right?
It really doesn't.
Yeah, January 5th is New Year.
Yeah.
January 5th is New Year. Everyone would start on Monday. No one would start on the 1st. So we're kicking off 440 together. We ran this last year. It is Faith, Family, Fitness, Service, the 4 pillars of Mayhem's values. And essentially it works as you will check those boxes each day. In the app, we have a 440 track. And each of those are really simple. It is just basically spend some time intentionally hitting each of those values. We give examples you can do that. We give resources you can do it. The faith one, most of us here are probably going to read our Bible and or pray. Spend at least 10 minutes doing that. If you're not someone who's a Christian or of faith, you can talk to a mentor. You can journal about it. You can sit in silence. All those things. You can make it count.
Sounds terrible.
Sitting in silence. You should set a timer and try it. It is,
I can't.
It is hard
You
for me
can.
too.
It was just suck.
I don't want to do it.
You don't want to.
I
yes.
don't. No part of me wants to do that.
I've tried 2-minute intervals of sitting in silence, and
I can't even do that to go to sleep. Like I have to have a fan going.
Yep.
I can't do it. Not doing it.
Nice sound machine. Works for me.
Yep. Same. So if you want to get mentally tougher with your faith, you can just sit there for 10 minutes of silence.
I'd rather listen to something or read something.
I do think kicking off the year with the 440 challenge is a really nice way to, one, reset. Like everyone has these kind of aspirations. Oh, we're starting a new year. Here are my resolutions. But it's like, no, here, let's give you some tools that you can use to set a routine and have some habits so you can actually follow through with those throughout 2026.
Yeah. I do like goals, but I've even geared more towards let's establish just habits, things we believe in, and like walk in every single day, and you naturally will likely accomplish your goals along the way.
Yeah, I think it was Bella. I guess whoever's running Mayhem Athlete account messaged me on Instagram and was like, hey, what are your goals for 2026? And I said, I can't give you any because, one, it's not going to be authentic because I don't do goals. And she was like, all right, good answer. It's just not who I am. I never have been. I like a target, something to train for, but I'm not I don't have goals.
Do this exact thing.
Yeah.
I'm a checklist guy, though.
Yeah,
so I like having the check.
Yeah.
Like 440 does that, where it's okay, here are the things I'm going to do
I need
today.
to do faith, family, fitness,
exactly.
service. I mean, those are like, I try to do that anyway. So, but yeah, I'm 100% checklist or like getting out of a rhythm. Like kids not being in school messes me up a little bit. I used to never be a rhythm guy, but now I'm like, kind of like that, like I've been getting up, going down to the sauna, cold plunge. Usually in there, I'll listen to, I've been listening a ton to Lake Point Church. So Josh Howerton as kind of my faith stuff for the day, and then cold plunge, and then, take the kids to school, do some fitness, whatever, hang out at the gym. And so like that rhythm has been thrown off when the kids are out of school. So it'll be good to get back to a rhythm. It
is nice. I kind of like these 2 weeks to get out of rhythm because you can kind of appreciate. Yeah. At the end of it, you're like, okay, I need it back. But then it's like, like if you've been going hard all year into Christmas, New Year's.
That week between Christmas and New Year's is so weird. It's like a time warp where there's nothing really. You're like, I've worked out every single day, but you're kind of like, I don't really care. I'm going to go do whatever, but I'm getting something in. But I just like to have, I need to look at the calendar and come up with some type of like event that I need to train for, or else it's just like, I guess I'll do that.
I'll do it anyways.
I'll do that,
Yeah, it does give it more purpose. Like we talk about, throw a competition on the calendar.
Yeah.
Get something out there. I'll run a race. Do something you're going to probably train anyways if you're watching this, but it does help. Yeah, give it motivation. So, yeah, we're all about that. I'm super nerd on Atomic Habits. He's all about like goals are fine, but what you do every day is going to lead to who you're becoming.
Right.
So this is why we're doing this. So faith is that. Family, spend at least 30 minutes of uninterrupted time with your family or community or friends. It's just like don't be on your phone scrolling the whole time you're hanging out with whoever that is each day. Fitness, obviously do any Mayhem workout or just 30 minutes of moving. And then service, this is essentially just a random act of kindness. Do something good for someone. It can literally be anything, but try to make it something that, like, if you weren't intentional, you wouldn't have done that day already. Give money to homeless.
Someone's going to cost you something.
Yeah. Donate blood, donate money or time, essentially.
Donate blood. I should count for a couple of days of something service, though.
I got a crazy story last time I donated blood.
Uh-oh.
I did it, not scared of needles, totally fine. Get done. I stand up, pass out.
Woo!
Like,
Gone.
Yeah, completely fell over. And it was like the nurse that did it for me, she probably weighed like 95 pounds. So she had to catch me before my head hit the floor.
Gosh.
And then I had to stay in the clinic for like an extra 30 minutes to make sure that I could drive home. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was bad. Sorry.
Never done that.
I'm doing the rich thing.
Maybe don't donate blood.
Weaves.
Yeah,
I couldn't tell you the last time I gave blood, actually. I gave it a lot in like college, and then I'm just like, nah.
College.
Yeah. And I wasn't, not to get money. You didn't get money back then.
Sidetrack more. One time I did do the, what's it called when they take your blood and put it back in you and take the.
Oh, plasma?
It was super sketchy. In college, I did that to
get some money.
And
yeah, you did.
I'll never do it again. I almost passed out from that. Yeah. It was just.
Another sidetrack. This is a faith and family one. We went and watched that David movie with the kids. You seen that
I
yet?
heard it's good.
It was good. It's really good for the kids.
Yeah.
Rich wants more violence.
Not more violence. David was just a little soft. Like
in the movie was.
Yeah. Like as a younger, he was fine, but like as he got older, it just, after reading those Day of War books, I just wanted a little bit of like,
Yeah, you need some action.
Yeah. So it was good though. Kids liked it. Kids loved it. So that's all that matters. But
I think I'm taking him Saturday.
Yeah. They don't show him cut off Goliath's head. It was like
that is disappointing.
Yeah, they do show like later on. There's a tapestry that he walks by, and he does have the head. So you're like, all right, at least it's in there.
Yeah,
But I would tell my kids, I'm like, hey, he's about to cut off his head, and then they were so disappointed that he didn't cut off his head. So.
And in the books, like he'll pull it back out. It turns to the skull.
Yeah.
The Day of War books.
Yeah. And then the sword.
So
Goliath's sword he carries around.
That is awesome.
I mean, it's good.
There's faith, family, fitness, service. Each week we'll have a 440 challenge workout the first week. So basically, if you want to do this, check the boxes every day. The goal would be if you can do it every day for the 40 days, and then you qualify for the prize, which is actually, you already mentioned it, a
sauna and cold plunge.
Sisu sauna and Cold Creek.
Cold Creek sauna or plunge, but it's a Cold Creek Sisu, I think. They did a collaboration.
Oh, sweet.
It's what I use every day.
Good. We were brainstorming for a while what prize to do. I mean, everyone loves money. We kind of want to make it something just cool.
Cool, yeah.
And then when we said that, I was like, I want to win that.
Yeah.
I want to enter.
Yeah.
So sauna, cold plunge, check the boxes every day. Do that along with the challenge workouts. These challenge workouts will be in every Mayhem athlete track, basically. So just do the workout. It'll be there. There'll be some extra prizes with that. The first week, what was the first one? Do you remember?
First one I filmed was the 40 cows, 40 toes to bar, 40 squat, 40 shoulder to overhead.
Yep, that is
or 4 rounds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Most of them grinders. There's one or two that aren't like crazy long, but usually 30, 40 minutes or AMRAPs repeatable in 4 minutes for 40. Those would be the themes. That is 440. So living your values every day. Come alongside with us. We'll hopefully have, our community's over 10,000. So a lot of people doing it. Time to get on board and then just set you in the right direction for 2026. With that, we are doing the Nimble and Quick cycle. Also kicks off the same day. If you're a Mayhem athlete, there's a Mayhem 440 track. You can go there, do those every day. And then if you're in any of the other tracks, essentially most of them will have this Nimble and Quick cycle as the theme, as the prep as we head into the competitive season, which we are defining as the CrossFit season. Open will be our first stop. This cycle is 7 weeks. So it starts January 5th, rolls us into the week before the Open. So a lot of this is going to be Open prep along with quarterfinals prep because the majority of athletes are doing that. If your semifinals games, we will do what we call a mini peak for the quarterfinals to make sure our guys are geared up for there, and then keeping you fit throughout this to build for semifinals games. But everyone else, if you're an open athlete, you can go into compete track. If you're master's track, 16 scaled will naturally do this, just be in a shorter time frame to build us for 26.1, 26.2, and 26.3. The way it works this year, Brandon, hop in if I get any dates wrong. End of February, we have those 3 workouts in March for the open workouts. We'll have a 1 week break, and then we'll have quarterfinals, which is back. I don't know why they took away last year. I think quarterfinals is the right move to having it, but it's here again.
Switch. They got to change things.
So everyone had to change from like
Keep my mouth shut.
intermediate or advanced athlete, blah, blah, whatever. No, you're a quarterfinals athlete, which is good. Top 25%, correct?
Yep.
So what we're doing, if you compete for open, then quarterfinals. If you're not doing quarterfinals for whatever reason, we're still going to plug it in there so you can play with that. Moving into there. So this cycle will have the mainstays of it will be full send Fridays, which will be each Friday. We'll have a good bit of open repeats on those. We went back and pulled what I'm calling at least bangers from some way back in the day. The first one is actually 13.5. Were you and Khalifa threw down?
Not doing that.
Not doing that.
That is a tough workout, by the way.
It's so dirty.
It's not fun.
Hopefully, I mean, if you've been doing the open since 2013, you've been with us a while, but it's been a while since you hit that workout too. So it'll be nice, but a lot of the community hasn't done that because it's been 12 years since that workout showed up. Some others we'll hit is the squat clean, double under total bar, the power snatch, ascending weight, wall walk, and I believe that was double under 2 from a couple of years ago with ascending weights there, and then some other classic open workouts off the top of my head, wall ball row, double under, where you could partition reps as desired. So what we'll do on Fridays, that will be a huge mainstay so you can practice hitting a competitive workout, and then how you're going to warm up for that, how you're going to strategize for it, and go all out. Hopefully same time of day like you will the open workout. That's what it's designed for.
Wall ball row muscle up?
Wall ball row muscle up, what I say.
Yeah. You said double under, I think.
Oh, my bad. Wall ball row muscle up, yeah. It was like
I remember that one because we did it at the Torian that year.
That's right, you and Norris did. 120 cal row.
30 muscle ups?
120 wall ball, 80 wall ball. 120 cal row, 80 wall ball, 40 muscle up.
You'll get
wow.
it.
It was only
You got
80
it.
wall balls?
120 wall ball,
Okay.
80 cal row.
80 cal row, and then 40
minus
muscle ups.
Got it.
Yeah.
Now
One
I'm
of the things
tracking.
I'd mention is the reason that we're putting those open workouts in, and Jake, you kind of touched on this, but it's important to practice kind of that skill of doing a qualifier or doing an open workout beforehand so you can figure out, hey, how am I going to transition? How am I going to break up my reps? You know, a workout like that is a perfect example. Are you going to partition it the entire time? Are you going to do a big chunk of row at the beginning? So if any of these come back out or a combo that's similar to that, you have practice and you know exactly how you're going to do it on game day during the open.
Well, and a lot of the open workouts have the same theme.
For sure.
Pain, you know, like it just is what it is. It's hard to really put yourself in that situation and knowing, you know, having the history of doing those workouts is, you know, most of the time you've done those workouts, you're at like, all right, hey, I've got to do this. It's got to be, you know, so it's going to be a really good time or a really good score. And so to try to repeat that in training is a good practice to have.
And I mean,
I don't do that ever.
I think we all know this too. It's like if you're training by yourself and not doing that, it's kind of hard to bring the same intensity. So if you know it's like, hey, this is an open workout, maybe you've done it before. This was my last score. I'm going to try to beat it in practice. Then you build confidence going into the actual
competition for sure.
Definitely. You guys did a good job talking about this, I think, on some of the podcasts with NPC. But often, maybe last year was an exception, but historically most opens, the biggest limiter for athletes is usually muscle endurance, right?
Yeah.
We usually think of it like you need to build your engine, which yes, building your engine helps, but a lot of people it's just they can't keep doing the reps because their muscles are tired.
Yeah, I mean, at the highest level of sport, like it's all based on their engine and obviously like being able to lift the barbells when it's heavy loads or like a 1RM. But for most athletes, especially those that are trying to qualify into the top 25%. So, and I know there are a lot of those that are in the program, right? Like, hey, my goal is to make quarterfinals. Those athletes, you really have to make sure you dial in your skills because if a ring muscle up comes up, even getting a couple reps can get you in the top 25%. So having that, and then obviously the muscle endurance side is just, can you do enough handstand push-ups? Can you do your burpees without your chest blowing up? It's a little bit less about like just having this huge quote unquote engine and more being able to do like these sustainable sub-maximal reps with things like toes to bar, chest to bars, handstand push-ups, which is a little bit different than what I think people think. They're like, I'm just going to do a bunch of row intervals and I'm going to get better at the open. It's like, no, you've got to do the movements, the skills that are in the open and build some endurance or some tolerance there to be able to do well.
Absolutely. So we'll do in most of Metcons Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Friday's kind of set with the open. Saturday be the 440 challenge, but we'll sprinkle in every single week the movements you're going to see in the open quarterfinals. Obviously, chest to bar, toes to bar, upper pulling, muscle ups. Brandon, tell them a little bit about. He actually wrote us a pretty sweet cycle, which will be 2 levels. One, if you're like, hey, I only have a couple ring muscle ups or bar muscle ups. Well, this will hopefully get you to 4 or 5. There's a level 2, we're calling it, which is like, hey, I can string together 5 or more. we can follow this to increase that hopefully to 7, 8, 9, or if you're 10 or more, just increase a few reps. Then if you don't have that, then you have the option of just to get your first program, whichever release as well. But Brandon, we tell them something about the muscle up program.
Yeah, we talked about this a lot of like, hey, there are different levels of athletes. So let me take a step back. I think this is important for all those that are listening. If you're an athlete that's preparing for the Open, like your goal is just to make quarterfinals, you're obviously at a different level right now than the athlete that knows they're going to make quarterfinals and is trying to get into a semifinal. So there needs to be kind of different levels to the program that targets what's going to be tested in that particular sequence of the season. So in other words, if you're an open athlete, we know that it will be thrusters, chest to bars, toes to bar, maybe some double unders or low level skills that are going to be tested. For quarterfinal athletes, you need to start thinking about, hey, I need to do high volume ring muscle ups, GHDs, rope climbs, pistols, as much as everyone hates doing the pistols. But all of those things have come out historically, and the time domains change a little bit. There's usually a heavy barbell. There's one sprint style workout in quarterfinals and then one longer workout. Whereas the Open, most things are kind of between that 8 and 14 minute time domain and then maybe 1 20-minute AMRAP, but it's just fast turnover. So all that to say, like historically, we've looked at the data and we know what's usually tested and what skills you need to have. So that's why we set up these levels. So with something like the ring muscle ups, a level 1 athlete would be someone that's trying to get through the Open into quarterfinals and maybe only has a couple reps. So we've done a lot of technical work, skill work to get you more confident doing 2s and 3s, maybe 4s and 5s if you're kind of at the upper end of that level. And then level 2, Jake, you mentioned this, is more for that quarterfinal athlete that's trying to make it into a semifinal or just say, hey, the last time we had quarterfinals, I was, 8th percentile. Now I want to get into the top 5 percentile. So we're trying to teach you, hey, can we do more volume, sets of 7, sets of 10, maybe doing 20 for time, those kind of things to build the endurance that's going to be needed in quarterfinals.
Absolutely. Okay. That's a good breakdown. That's a good thing to remember too. Like we can see the top athletes, which once you're there, you have that skills acquired. You have the foundational strength to do more and more reps, which is good to get there. But if you're not there yet, this is going to help you bridge the gap to get, okay, I need enough of these so I can do it. So then once I'm practicing these reps, just doing more in a workout is going to make me better rather than just struggling to get a certain number and always staring at the rings or whatever it is.
Yeah. And to just finish that thought I had earlier about like thinking about which level you are, I think athletes that are listening to this, you should already be thinking through, do I know I'm going to qualify for quarterfinals? And if you do, then your focus needs to be on quarterfinals, right? Mm-hmm. Like if you know you're easily going to get in the top 25%, we're offering these options. And I know, Jake, you've built it out in a way that's like we have a bunch of GHDs in there. We have rope climbs in there. We have the heavy barbells for the quarterfinal athletes so that they're not just peaking for the Open. You're actually preparing for quarterfinals. You just got to keep that in mind. Whereas the quarterfinal or the Open athlete, you're peaking for the Open. So you're going to be doing, there's an Open level in Mayhem Compete that's going to give you the opportunity to focus on just the thruster and chest to bar.
Yep.
For sure. Yeah, to bring it up even back up more, we're going to release the 2026 overview, which will show you all of our 6 cycles throughout the year and how it'll look, exact dates, what the themes are. It'll be very similar to last year in a lot of ways, just so you can see it yearly laid out right now. What this cycle really is, it's almost a 2-part cycle. You have Nimble and Quick, 7 weeks, and it'll go into the 5 weeks we call the compete cycle. They really run together in a sense because Nimble and Quick is prepping you exactly for that. You're running straight into compete, which is the 3 open workouts, like we said, a week break, then quarterfinals. So it's almost one big 12-week block within that. Like Brandon's mentioned, the quarterfinals, what we're going to do is we're going to have a mock weekend within the compete cycle, which will be, we're going to do 3 weeks before quarterfinals is the plan because 2 weeks before is Wadapalooza and it's 26.3. So that'll be there as well. If you're a quarterfinals athlete, we still want you to prepare and perform well in the Open because you have to. You still need to get the top 25 percentile, but you'll be prepped all along the way with the cycle and that so that quarterfinals is just like an afterthought. Oh, crap, we got to do that 2 weeks after. You'll be there the whole way. We do got a pretty sweet, it's not sweet, it's just going to be straight work of the 20-minute, we built it with the coaches, row burpee progression, which is coming this Tuesday actually. We'll test that, we'll retest it. It's 20 minutes of, which movements first, remind me, Brandon, 30 seconds of row, rest 30 seconds. You'll love this, 30 seconds of burpees, rest 30 seconds. Score will be total accumulated reps throughout. And then each week we'll build on that for how many did you get in that 30 seconds. We'll add a rep the next week. Then we'll go back later in weeks and then play with the pacing and then amount of work you're doing there, variations. So the 7 weeks at the end of it, we'll try to add maybe 3 to 5% of your total reps with that. Strength-wise, we're changing up a little bit. We're going to have some fatigued lifting here. So some days we'll do the Metcon first. And also we're going to do on some of these Mondays is we'll hit like an interval piece back and forth. Like this Monday is going to be wall ball, GHD, and row. You rest back and forth. And then after that, we'll rest 3 or 4 minutes and hit like a heavy complex, that be clean front squat jerk or heavy double snatch from the ground. Things like that we're working on after doing a certain amount of work in a Metcon style, hitting a heavy complex after. So you work on lifting under fatigue and building the skill of getting to heavy single or whatever it might be after you've done a workout and thinking how we're changing plates, how big of jumps can I make, and what percentage of my 1RM of that base lift going to hit. If it's clean and jerk and your max is 300, you're going to be under fatigue. I'm hitting, let's say, a clean front squat jerk. Well, you're not going to hit 300 during that, but can I build to 90% my 1RM? And then if I have 5 minutes, what do my jumps need to be within that? So we'll do that. How did you do that in competition? How did you think through when you did that in open, or I guess you did it in semifinals too some? Did you think through, like, is that how you thought about it? Here's my 1RM.
No.
I'm going to hit that, or just
no, because my 1RM was just a moving target at all times, depending on what time of the year it was, you know? So I think a lot of off of feel, a lot of practicing this. We did a lot of, hey, do a Metcon in our lifting. Most of our lifting was after a Metcon anyway. I just felt better and good and warmed up after that. But we did a lot of, all right, you got 8 minutes, you got 5 minutes, you got whatever, you know, as a group working up. We did a lot of just random, like, conga line type stuff where it was like, you know, 4 or 5 of us training. We'd hit a Metcon and then load the bar up and just keep going until you were out. And so you get an idea of how you're going to feel under fatigue. And we just did that a lot. And so what to Brandon's point is make sure that we're practicing those, you know, what's going to happen and what it's going to feel like, so you don't get in those situations and think, oh crap, I've never felt like this. Yeah. You know, I remember it was the squat, pull up, thruster, squat, you rested, and squat, toes to bar, thruster, and then squat, bar muscle up, thruster, or something like that. I can't remember.
Yeah,
open workout. And then you did a complex. And, dude, your forearms were trashed. I remember that feeling. And we'd done that before, but it's still like, it was almost a pretty, you were like, I don't know if I can hold onto this bar when it comes back down. And so it's just getting in those situations and not being, you know, everybody knows what it feels like to lift fresh, right? You know, how you warm up for the lift, and, you know, you're doing the Bergener warm up or whatever, just hitting positions. Everybody knows what that feels like. Not everybody knows what it feels like to lift when you're like completely spent after a Metcon. And so I think you got to practice that.
Yeah.
It's
100% a skill that you need to learn. And it just, again, goes back to building confidence. Like, you doing that over and over again, you kind of knew where your targets would be.
I just knew what my jumps could be.
Yeah. Right? And then maybe you still feel good and you're like, hey, I'm going to go for a PR. Like, that has happened, you know, post Metcon in a competition where someone hits a PR. It's rare. Yeah, I did an analysis a couple years ago when they had a max clean and jerk after one of the Metcons, and it was either quarterfinals or maybe it was the open, but the average for the elite athletes was 93% of their 1RM based on the data that we had. So, I mean, that's probably a good target for most people. 93% is pretty heavy after a hard Metcon.
Heck yeah. Well, and then you just know that on a clean, all right, probably 10 to 15 pound jumps are acceptable. Yeah. On a snatch, you're looking at maybe 5 to 10, you know, just because it's just what you're used to.
Sure.
Right. And maybe you do practice, hey, fatigue, I've got 5 lifts after this. And I've got to, like, because I'm already good and warmed up. You know, maybe the Metcon has some type of movement that, you know, warmed you up to those movements. And you're like, all right, I got 5 lifts. What can I do in 5 lifts? And, you know, I got a minute between each lift. And the hardest and the most underrated skill in all of this, switching plates.
Yes.
Because your heart rate is 1 million, and then the math of it, you know, and you know, I've screwed that up before. I screwed it up at regionals one year, or semifinals, I think.
It was 21.
Yeah, I cleaned. I thought it was 360,
the same as this year,
and I was clean and jerking 360, and it ended up being 370.
I remember watching.
I hit the clean. I did not hit the jerk.
It's a good feeling when you do hit it. You think it's less than it is.
Yeah, that workout, actually, it's programmed the week before 26.1. I already have it slotted as 21.3 and 4. So 2021, the last open workout that you were mentioning, where it was like it's front squat, toes bar, thruster, rest 1 minute, and then the everything stays the same with 95 pounds, but you went chest to bar, and then bar muscle.
Okay, and then bar muscle up. I couldn't remember if it was toes to bar first or toes to bar was in the middle.
Yeah, I thought that was one of the best open workouts ever, actually.
Yeah.
That's why I have it programmed again.
That's a good one.
And it's also, I think, important to get different exposures to like the fatigue that comes beforehand. So to Rich's point, like one may just be really grip limited. So it's like, I don't know if I can pick up this bar. Yep. Or a good example was, if you guys remember when they did the burpee and dumbbell front squat, and it was like 10 down to 1 or 1 to 10. I can't remember which way it was.
And then you did a clean.
And then you did a clean. Well, that's more heavy on your legs.
I blocked that one out because that's when Dan ruptured his quad tendon.
Oof.
I was there.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Make sure you warm up, guys. And if something feels off, don't go all the way there.
Don't go through it. I remember we were all planning on doing that at Rogue, and then I watched Dan do it. I'm like, not doing that today. And then I had to come home and do it here after riding in the car. Oh, sorry.
Like
I didn't mean to hijacked you there, but that was a memory that just like, oof.
I think you talked about it. He was like screaming.
Just screaming.
Oh, no.
Screaming. I thought he was dead. I thought he broke his femur and he was bleeding out.
Oof.
I'm guessing he just knew right away. Like,
he just collapses and just starts yelling.
Oh, man.
Just yelling. Like, ugh. And Bridges was finishing the workout. There's the whole scenario. I don't want to do it. I wish we had it on film. We do have it on film. It's on Bridges' GoPro somewhere. Because I shut off Josh's GoPro because I was like, this is awkward. Let me shut this off, And because he'd finished the workout because it was the last lift in that thing. And so we go over there and we're trying to help Dan, and we end up calling like EMS, and they came and carted him out. I thought he was going to die. And so then Josh walks over, who turned off my GoPro? I was like, I mean, I did, like I just didn't want.
Sorry, you got to do it again.
Yeah. So no, I think he ended up, it was fine. He'd had enough information on there to but yeah, that was not fun.
Good gracious. So if you're doing a max lift,
he's fine now. Dan's still alive, guys.
You'll be all right. You'll be all right. Keep building within it. That won't show up. It was 7 minutes, deadlift, clean, hang clean, jerk. That's a really good example. It's like, well, maybe I could hit 90%, but I don't really know because there's the extra deadlift, the extra hang clean in there. And these are usually there's almost always an open workout, if not two, that's majorly limited by grip just because you go so intense. The smaller muscles are going to fatigue the most first. Yep. It's really hard to simulate that unless you go that hard in training. Sure. So that was a great example for that. And then getting into the lift itself to learn how to do that. So that's coming Friday, February 20th, actually.
Won't be doing it, sorry.
Not doing that. Mondays, we're going to hit some heavy squats. Nothing crazy. This last cycle, we went really hard with 10 to 15 sets of heavy squats throughout. Retested there. We're just going to hit some top end, lower rep, higher percentage to maintain that strength. We'll either hit some heavy top end snatch or clean and jerk, or if there's that lifting under fatigue on Monday, like I mentioned, that will take care of that. Tuesday will be some upper pressing, some upper strength, jerk technique and percentage work, and then some deadlift volume there. We're going to start building up that deadlift capacity because traditionally somewhere in the open and or quarterfinals, a lot of deadlifts are going to show up, usually at that moderate load. 225 is pretty popular, sometimes a little heavier or lighter. Wednesday, if we're cleaning or snatching on Monday, Wednesday will be the opposite. Just some percentage work and then some technique there with some accessory. Friday, again, we'll work up to some heavier Oli lifts and then actually going to hit deadlift again, depending what the Metcon is. It won't be as much capacity as top end there, just building to something heavy to get that CNS primed and ready, and just to hit some more deadlifts because last cycle was so squat focused. Then at the end of the week, we're going to either finish with some upper press pull muscle endurance, and on A weeks, as we're calling it, then B weeks, the other week, you'll just hit, if it was more like 10 by 5 on one week, the next week will probably be like heavy, working to heavy 2s or 3s on bench press, weighted pull up, that type thing, just to keep that strength maintenance and then start to build the muscle endurance as well on the strength. Like Rich mentioned, we used to do all the time was lift after the Metcon, just to build the skill one, get used to it and the body adapting. So 2-3 days a week, we are going to be lifting after the Metcon, not just with the heavy complex, but just like on Tuesdays, we'll hit all that upper press work, jerk tech, and deadlift capacity after whatever Metcon it is on that. We covered, the row progression, row burpee. That's every Tuesday. It'll show up. That'll be the main piece, the Metcon itself. Friday will be full send Fridays. If you're semifinals games athlete, we're going to hit 10K progression on Tuesday afternoons. We'll have a lot of semifinals, high skill type stuff on some other days sprinkled in there. And then usually Saturday after we hit whatever 440 challenge workout, We'll finish with like a very quarterfinals-esque piece. Might be heavy barbell. Might have pistol touches. A lot of GHTs, jump rope, walk on our hands, things like that that traditionally skip the open, move in the quarterfinals section of that. Biggest things we're going to see, like the muscle up progression, all these prep for open, prep into quarterfinals, barbell cycling to get wet better as well. And then we're going to mock what we do in the competition itself. Trying to note, Brandon, anything I forgot that's big level we should touch on?
Yeah, I think you just mentioned it, but the simulation weekend's a great opportunity, again, to practice that skill of competing. So we built it into week 2 of the Open intentionally because, again, week 3 is Wadapalooza, so we know some people will be competing down there, and it's obviously the last week of the Open. But that second week is a great opportunity, both for those that maybe don't know if they're going to make quarterfinals, like they're on the bubble, and then everyone else that's going to make quarterfinals to practice a full weekend of what it's going to feel like. Because usually, yeah, maybe you do 2 sessions in a day, but are you doing 5 hard workouts or 6 hard workouts over a weekend like you'll do in quarterfinals? Most people don't do that, right? Mm-hmm. So practicing that, like what are you going to eat? How are you warming up and cooling down after workouts? Are you placing the workouts strategically to like do maybe one that's not going to impact the next one? So thinking through that and then actually practicing it, I think, is important for the athlete. And so we'll build that out for you. Obviously, we'll have warm-ups and cool-downs in there for you as well, and good targets for you to hit so you can do well in quarterfinals.
Yep. So like that week would be 26.2. That'll be like, hey, this is your first workout, and kind of incorporate it into the mock itself. Then we'll have either 3 workouts on top of that, with one would be like have a part A, part B, so we get 5 scores.
Games athletes have to do quarterfinals?
Yes.
Yeah.
So quarterfinals will be required,
for everyone.
Go to CrossFit Games. And then Scott hopping maybe for the in-person qualifying events. Everyone's still using like your own system of, obviously we are versus others, how you want to get your athletes to there. But to be able to do the CrossFit Games, you have to do quarterfinals still.
Yeah. And they're especially like, for example, now that Masters athletes have in-person competitions or semifinals, they're taking the leaderboard from quarterfinals to give you an invite to an in-person. So if you're an age group athlete that wants to go in person, you need to do really well in quarterfinals. It's not just qualify top 400. You got to be in that top, let's say 30 to get your choice of where you're going for the age group semifinal.
Yep. So multiple in-person qualifying events are or likely will use quarterfinals as their leaderboard to get qualified to it.
Yep.
And even if they don't, Mayhem Classic, then anyways, you still have to do quarterfinals to make the CrossFit Games. So quarterfinals matter a lot. 2026 overview coming out Monday. It'll have this with Nimble and Quick in there. It'll show us compete. And then after that, we're going to roll back in the freedom cycle, whether you're doing these in-person qualifying events, semifinals like we're chatting about, or something else. It'll be a season of, hey, do a local competition, all that, and then we'll roll into the rest of the year. So we'll be able to check those things out. Got some bangers coming up, 440. Anything else we got for the crew?
Open time.
It'll
be here before you know it.
7 weeks. Let's go. All right. See you guys there.
Peace.